You finish your last patient at 4:45. You should be done. But your inbox has 47 unread messages, 6 lab results, 3 refill requests, a consult report that's been sitting there unacknowledged, 2 portal messages from patients who want medication refills over text. So you stay, or you go home, but you log in after dinner, or you wake up early and start clicking before the clinic opens. Here's what your employer knows that you may not have named yet. You are salaried, an exempt employee. Your salary doesn't change when the workday runs long or when you started early. There's no overtime clock for you. The salary was built around a scheduled number of hours, and when your job requires more hours than the schedule contains, your salary gets diluted. The employer is not financially penalized for this. There's no overtime line item. That cost lands entirely on you in your personal time, in what your salary actually works out to per hour. This is not a productivity problem. This is a job design problem. This video is about getting this work done inside your business hour with structure, with a system. I'm Candace, a board-certified family nurse practitioner and primary care workflow strategist. I work full-time in primary care at an FQHC in New York City. I use Epic every single day. I manage my own inbox, and I do it all within my scheduled hours. As a workflow strategist, the inbox is one of the first places I look at when an NP tells me that their work keeps following them home. The problem is almost always structural, not personal. What I'm going to walk you through is not a productivity trick. It's a structural approach to a structural problem. If you want a starting framework for auditing where your work is going, including the inbox, I have a free NP workflow and survival guide. It's linked in the description and it's there when you need it. Section 1, what the inbox actually is. The EHR inbox is not a feature. It's a second job that your employer didn't schedule time for. It collects everything that does not fit neatly into a patient visit. Lab results, imaging reports, prior authorization requests, patient portal messages, referral documents, prescription renewals, insurance forms. Each item demands a different type of thinking. Here's the structural problem that no one names out loud. Your employer almost certainly did not build protected time within your schedule for any of that stuff. You were given a patient panel and a visit schedule, and the inbox was left for you to figure out when you're going to do that. So you absorb all of that work, and that's not an oversight. That is a job design choice. Not your choice, your employer's choice. Patient visits generate revenue. The administrative work that those visits create does not. An employer who books a full day of patient visits and leaves no time for the downstream administrative work is maximizing billable activity while shifting the cost of that non-billable work onto you. And because the NP is exempt, no overtime is triggered. The employer's books look clean. The NP's salary dilutes with every hour of work she does beyond the scheduled business hours. Here's what that looks like in real numbers. Your salary is fixed. It does not change because you stayed late or you came in early or you worked through lunch. It doesn't change when you leave on time. Your effective hourly rate, however, is different. This is what your salary actually works out to per hour based on the hours that you really work, not just the hours in your official schedule. A $130,000 salary at 40 scheduled hours a week works out to $60 to $50 an hour. Now add 60 to 90 minutes a day of inbox work that spills outside of your official schedule. That salary is now covering 50 or more hours per week, and your effective hourly rate drops down to $50 an hour. In dollar terms, 60 to 90 extra minutes per workday is about $300 to $450 per week in extra labor you're providing, stretched across the hours that your schedule was not built to contain. And per year, that's $15,000 to $23,000 in extra labor. Same salary, more hours, lower real rate. This is not about dedication. This is exempt status doing exactly what it was designed to do. Section 2, why it's not a you problem. The advice you usually get is manage your time better or work faster. Speed cannot fix a workload that was never designed to fit inside of your scheduled hours. The inbox feels overwhelming because it generates continuous, unstructured tasks with no built-in boundaries and no protected time for it on the schedule. The inbox is not the disease itself, it's the symptom. The real issue is that most NP jobs were designed without accounting for any administrative work. You were trained to diagnose and treat. You were not trained to manage the everyday reality of licensed practice, the inbox, the portal, the refills, the prior authorization. None of this was taught in school. The gap between what you were trained for and what the job actually requires is where the schedule runs out and where your personal time gets pulled in to close it. Closing that gap is not about working harder. It's about building systems that contain the work inside the hours that are actually available for you during the workday. Section 3, batching and the Ohio principle. Here's the structural concept that changes the inbox problem. Do not process your inbox continuously throughout the day. When the inbox is always open, it's always competing for your attention. You're context switching between patients and inbox tasks dozens of times a day. Each switch costs you time and cognitive load. The structural alternative is to designate specific windows in your scheduled day for inbox work. Outside of those windows, the inbox stays closed. Within each window, use the principle called Ohio. Only handle it once. When you open a message, you make a decision in that moment. Act on it, delegate it, or file it. You do not read it, close it, come back to it at 9 p.m. This is a concept that you can put into work today. The detailed structure of how to apply it, how to build your inbox windows, how to set up the delegation protocols that keep certain work from reaching you at all, that's in Chart Smart Mastery. But Ohio, you could use that this shift. Handle it once, work while you're at work during your business hours. A quick reminder, the NP Workflow and Survival Guide is linked in the description. It's the starting audit for understanding where is your time going. It's free. It's linked below. Section 4, what should never reach your inbox. Now let me talk about a category of work that should not reach your inbox at all. Not every task in your inbox requires your clinical license to complete. Documentation gathering for prior authorizations. Your medical assistant or nurse should be assembling that clinical package before that request even reaches you. And then you review it, you sign it, but you should not be the one to build it. Routine refill requests for stable, adherent patients. The clinical criteria for these refills can be protocoled, and the nurse fills the protocol, routes it to you for signature, not necessarily for a decision and investigation. Normal result notification for clearly normal labs. Templated language could be sent by the nurse with standing orders. You review the flag, not the whole entire messaging exchange. The question for every task in your inbox is this: does completing this require my clinical license? If the answer is no, that task is a delegation gap. Delegation breaks down in practice not because nurse practitioners forget how, but because the workflows were never redesigned to route this work away from the NP. Building those routing structures is one of the most direct ways to keep the inbox work inside your scheduled hours. Section 5, templating your responses. The inbox work that does reach you should take as little of your time as possible. Build templates for your most common inbox responses. Normal lab results, refill approvals, appointment redirection for clinical questions, prior authorization status updates. Your inbox is not a virtual visit. Treating it like one, writing a full clinical paragraph for every portal message pulls your salary across hours that the schedule was not built to contain. It increases your liability exposure because clinical conversations belong in scheduled visits with proper documentation. A response that takes 3 minutes when templated takes 12 minutes when written from scratch. Across 20 inbox items per day, that's 3 hours per week of schedule overflow that templating eliminates. Build the templates one time, deploy them on every relevant message, That is a clinical communication system, not a shortcut. The inbox follows you home because the schedule was never built with time to allow for you to do it during business hours. Patient visits are scheduled because they generate revenue. Administrative work is not scheduled because it does not. The provider absorbs the cost difference in personal time, in effective hourly rate, and there's no financial mechanism that penalizes the employer for this design because you're not getting overtime for this. Batching, delegating, templating, these are not hacks. They are structural corrections to a schedule that was never built to contain all of this work. Your employer will always get their 40 hours, so make sure that you get yours. The NP Workflow and Survival Guide is free, and it's the starting audit for understanding where your time is going. It's linked below.